we're doing a rant today. We're doing a rant about the fact that the Model 1887 is overpowered. So that's pretty common knowledge. It's pretty commonly accepted within the Discord and the Reddit communities that the Model 1887 is an overpowered weapon right now. However, what's been debated on Reddit and Discord is that the Model 1887 should be nerfed. It shouldn't, and I'm going to be talking about why. So firstly, if you don't know, the Model 1887 is basically just the meta right now. This is because medium is meta, so obviously the meta weapon is also going to be on the medium. And the reason it's the model is because all of the fights in the game take close ranges, because you're always either defending a cash out or trying to attack the cash out, and that's always going to be within a pretty close range, and the model functions well at the closer ranges. So that's why the model is meta, that's why it's overpowered. And it also has like a very good time to kill, and it doesn't require super precise aim. It requires precise aim, but it's much easier to shoot a heavy like twice or 3 times with a model than it is to beam them with headshots with an AKM. It's much easier to do with the model, so it's also easier to use, easier to get that faster time to kill on the model than it is on other classes, on other weapons rather. So yes, the model is overpowered, but no, I don't think it should be nerfed. And the reason for that is because for a very long time, since the game's launch actually, since the betas even, stuff has just kept getting nerfed. And the whole reason why the model is powerful right now is because stuff just kept getting nerfed. So for anyone that, you know, didn't play the betas, Heavy used to be much better. Lewis gun the M60 used to actually feel like machine guns instead of pea shooters. The flamethrower used to be much better than it currently is. The SA-1216 used to just delete people from the game. You could literally 1v3 very successfully with the SA-1216. It used to be a super powerful weapon. The light, SH-1900 used to be much more powerful. LH-1, no visual recoil. V9S, no visual recoil on it. XP-54, M11, both just used to be much better than they currently are. And that's the same for the medium as well. The FCAR, the AKM, both used to be much better than they currently are. Revolver used to not have any visual recoil. Yeah, so everything in the game used to be much stronger. And because of what I'm going to call power decreep, the model is now on top. So the model, since the betas, has not been touched. It has never received a buff or a nerf in any form as far as I'm aware. Someone please let me know if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. So the model since launch hasn't been buffed or nerfed at all, yet somehow it is now the meta. And that is only possible because of everything else being nerfed. So through numerous nerfs, through numerous patches, everything has steadily gotten weaker, which by definition is power decreep, and now the Model 1887 is on top. And for a long time, I've been talking about buffing stuff, which people don't like. Whenever I mention buffing stuff in previous videos, people are like, oh no, you can't do that because power creep will ruin the game. But we've literally had power decreep since the betas. That's why the model is the most powerful weapon right now. It was never buffed, it was never nerfed. It's because of power decreep that it's on top, right? So for a long time, I've been saying that we should try buffing stuff instead of nerfing stuff. And for a long time, I've wanted to eliminate visual recoil from the game. Visual recoil wasn't really a thing in the betas. And the gunplay, I will die on this hill, the gunplay in the betas still feels much better than it has ever since. So I think that the gunplay in the betas felt better than it did in Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, or now. And I'm very confident in saying that. And that's because in the betas there wasn't any visual recoil. Or if there was very little visual recoil. And now what we have is a lot of visual recoil on pretty much every single weapon. Even on the revolver, which is a semi-auto weapon, right, you still have crazy amounts of visual recoil. That's the same on the LH1 and the V9S as well. And on something like the FCAR or the AKM, or especially the M60 and the Lewis gun, you've also got crazy amounts of visual recoil. And the reason this is a problem, especially for the finals, is because in the finals, all of the bullets go towards the center of your screen. They don't go where the reticle is, they go towards the center of your screen. So if you're full autoing with the AKM, you're at some points while you're full autoing, the reticle isn't going to be in the center of your screen. It's going to be slightly misaligned, which literally makes it an inaccurate weapon, which isn't a good thing. It's not good for the gun to be innately inaccurate, which is currently what it is for many different weapons, which isn't a good thing, right? I've always hated that about this game. I've always, like, my least favorite thing about the finals has always been the gunplay, even though it's a first-person shooter. If you go back through my channel, I've always used the weapon that's just easiest to use, regardless of whether or not it's good. Right now, I'm mainly using Sledgehammer. In Season 2, I was mainly using Flamethrower. In Season 1, I think I was using the SA-1216. They were all weapons that didn't really require you having to manage the visual recoil, the recoil pattern, and all of that stuff. I always just, like, noped out of that, because I really hated the idea of shooting a weapon that literally just isn't fully accurate. I think that's horrible. So what I think could be done, to get back on topic, what I think could be done to buff the model is to just remove visual recoil. I think what the devs tried to do with Season 4 is they tried indirectly buffing stuff by giving everything scopes, which, by the way, is something I'm pretty sure the devs said that they didn't plan on adding. So maybe they meant it in a way that, like, it just wasn't, they hadn't planned it, they hadn't thought about it. But I remember them saying that they hadn't, you know, they didn't think about adding scopes or something like that, so they never really thought about it so much. So my understanding from when they said that was that they were never planning to add it. So maybe I just misinterpreted that. But I feel like the devs added scopes and sights in Season 4 to help kind of indirectly buff stuff and to help kind of alleviate the visual recoil, I would say. And I think that's a step in the right direction. I like the scopes and I like the sights. I think that's a great addition. However, I would still like it if the guns were actually accurate and the bullets were actually going where the reticle is. I think that would be great, and I think it would be great for the game. And I think it's pretty hard to argue against that. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be in the comments, tippy-tapping away on the keyboards, saying, oh, but you can't buff stuff because power creep. But you can, because the devs have been consistently debuffing, nerfing stuff since launch. And now we're seeing the result of that, finally, which is that the Model 1887, the one weapon that, like, hasn't been touched at all, is the meta. That's how weak everything has become, right? A gun that hasn't been touched is suddenly the meta. So I think, instead of nerfing the model, which a lot of people seem to want to do, which I don't think is the right choice, because I think it's a weapon that feels very good to use, but still requires moderate amounts of precision, I think instead of nerfing it, you should just try buffing other stuff. Because that's something that really hasn't really been tried that much before. And I don't mean, you know, make the AKM go from 30 damage to 96 damage. I'm not talking about that. I mean, you know, just eliminate the visual recoil. Because the nice thing about the Model 1887 is that it's precise. The bullets go where you are aiming. And I think if all of the other guns did that as well, which they don't, then people would use the other guns as well. And the other guns would suddenly feel a lot better to use and suddenly become a lot more usable. So, yeah, I don't want to make this video too long. And also, one last thing I'm going to say, since we're on the topic of balancing, this is a rant video after all, so I might as well just go all out. The guns were more balanced in the betas, and I know that sounds absolutely insane, but it really is true. The Flamethrower, the SA-1216, the Lewis gun, the M60, even the MGL-32, they were all very viable in the betas. They could all kill people real quick. The AKM, the FCAR, the model, they were all super solid. Even the revolver, they were all, the CL-40 as well, they were all super solid in the betas. And then for the light, SH-1900, M11, XP-54, V9S, LH-1, they were all super viable in the betas. And I also think the light was more balanced, because the stun gun was super duper mega annoying. If they stunned you, it was basically just a free kill. But the heavy also one-shot them with an RPG. So, you know, I think the game was more balanced in the betas, and I feel pretty strongly about that. Obviously, there was stuff that was a little bit too overpowered as well, like the defibrillator and recon senses and nukes especially, and also the stun gun nerfing your sensitivity wasn't very good. So I think the balancing was better in the betas, And since the betas, we've only had power decreep, and the balancing has steadily just got worse and worse and worse and worse, because the guns just feel worse to use. So instead of nerfing the model, I would really like to see just a buff to some other stuff to try and make it more usable, mainly just by eliminating visual recoil. If you just eliminate visual recoil and just try it, I think the guns are going to feel so much better, because they're actually going to be accurate. The bullets are actually going to be going where the center of your screen is. The reticle is going to be going where the center of your screen is, making the guns accurate, which they currently aren't, and I just think that would be a very, very good thing for the game. So, is the model overpowered? Yes. Should it be nerfed? No. Should other stuff be buffed? Yeah. I'm pretty sure it should be. I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy with this video, because a lot of people don't seem to like it when I talk about buffing stuff, but I thought now would be a good time to talk about all of this, because now we're finally seeing, and I can finally show all of the people that like to talk about power creep that we've literally had power decreep since the betas, because if we hadn't, then the model wouldn't be meta right now. And you can't argue against that because it is a fact. So, there you go. I don't have so much else to say. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be it for this video. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Farewell.